Next time you're out with your friends, play a word association game with innovation, entrepreneur, or visionary. 9 times out of 10, someone will respond with Steve Jobs to one of them. Even though our answers aren't original, his products for sure were. Jobs made unthinkable things like carrying the internet in your pocket, accessible for just about everyone. Even though we now think Jobs' life was just one success after another, his life was anything but a walk in the park. Jobs' first setback happened shortly after he was born, when his biological parents gave him up for adoption. His adoptive parents struggled with Jobs as an infant and even considered returning him. His parents were working-class Christians that didn't have a college education, a fact that upset Jobs' biological mother. Despite this, Jobs' new parents promised to send Jobs to college when the time came. However, some probably doubt if Jobs could even graduate from the 3rd grade. He had trouble fitting in with his peers, and his teachers disliked him for being disruptive and defiant. Fortunately, things started turning around for Jobs in high school. In some ways, Jobs' adoption was a blessing in disguise. His parents lived near Silicon Valley, so Jobs was able to attend one of the only high schools in the country that specialized in electronics. His first success as an engineer was developing something called a blue box, which allowed people to make long-distance calls for free, even though it was illegal. Jobs said this showed him electronics ventures were fun and profitable. Jobs even went as far as saying that if these illegal blue boxes weren't a success, there wouldn't have been an Apple. Shortly after, Jobs graduated and fulfilled his biological mother's desire to attend college. However, after just one semester, he dropped out because he didn't want to waste his working-class parents' life savings on an education he found meaningless. Ingenious as he was, Jobs realized he could just audit the classes he wanted and piece together a meaningful education for free. During this time, he developed his now philosophy of connecting the dots between things that seemingly aren't related. In a famous commencement speech given in 2005, Jobs credits his life experiences outside of engineering training, such as taking calligraphy classes and living like a hippie, is essential in the aesthetic of the computers he designed later on.
Sometimes life's going to hit you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love, and that is as true for work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, and don't settle. As with all matters of the heart, you'll know when you find it. And like any great relationship, it just gets better and better as the years roll on. So keep looking, don't settle.
Before Jobs founded Apple, he worked for Atari. At Atari, his colleagues thought Jobs was smart, but arrogant. He became notorious in the company for making their gaming machines so efficient they were almost impossible to make. Eventually, Jobs got restless working for someone else and left for India to seek spiritual enlightenment. Upon returning, he founded Apple Computer Company with his longtime friend Steve Wozniak. They started developing small personal computers at a time when most computers involved punching cards in huge mainframe machines. Despite the initial skepticism, the Apple II turned out to be a huge success that attracted more investment and interest in personal computers.
Now I'd like to show you Macintosh in person. All of the images you are about to see on the large screen will be generated by what's in that bag.
Soon after, Apple went public, and Jobs was worth $250 million at the young age of 25 years old. This made Jobs one of the youngest people ever to grace Forbes' list of the richest people in the US, and one of the few to do it without inheriting money from their parents. Jobs proved that the American dream was still alive by showing that someone of any background can rise to the top through their own ingenuity and hard work. Unfortunately, Jobs enjoying this newfound success wasn't as simple as seeking spiritual enlightenment in India. He became embroiled in personal difficulties that for some people tarnished this otherwise rising star. His former girlfriend got pregnant and gave birth to his child when they were both 23. A paternity test revealed that Jobs was in fact the father, and he reluctantly paid a few $100s a month in child support when he was a multi-millionaire. His troubles continued into the early 80s as Apple battled with IBM for dominance in the personal computer market. Eventually, Apple lost this battle because Jobs' 1984 creation, the Lisa, was slow compared to the competition. In 1985, further setbacks prompt Apple to fire Jobs from the company he himself founded. After leaving Apple, Jobs founded a new company called Next. Jobs touted that his new machine would be the first interpersonal computer that could share images, text, and video through email for the first time ever. However, at a whopping $10,000, his machines sold well, but never went mainstream. Around this time, Jobs also became involved with Star Wars creator George Lucas to develop the computer graphics company. This venture, called Pixar, would later go on to be one of the most successful animation studios credited for making Toy Story, Ratatouille, and Finding Nemo. Things turned around for Jobs in a major way in 1997 when Apple announced it was going to buy Next for $427 million. This also brought Jobs back into his own company as an interim CEO. During this time, Jobs made the products that we have all come to know and love. He started in the early 2000s with the iconic and colorful iMac, then transformed portable music with the iPod, and finally revolutionized cell phones with the iPhone. Sadly, Jobs was diagnosed with a particularly deadly type of cancer in 2004. He kept his diagnosis and subsequent treatment hidden from the public. So when he succumbed to the disease in 2011, his death shocked people around the world. It seemed like his untimely death happened right as Apple was starting its meteoric rise to success with the iPhone 4. Even though Jobs had gone, his legacy continues through his products and has been immortalized in the culture for being synonymous with ingenuity. It probably won't be long before someone asks you, who do you think will be the next Steve Jobs?